Hello and welcome. What the fuck? We'll just restart that. Blip, 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 blip. Here we go. Hello and welcome to Three's a Crime, a true crime podcast. I'm Tori.
I'm Emily.
And I'm Lindsey.
And that's our intro.
Here we are professional podcasters.
We're podcasters, bitches.
You know what I hate about watching myself record is sometimes I feel like I laugh like Goofy. Like, listen, listeners, here's what I'm gonna fucking tell you. You better listen. This story sucks.
Listen, listeners.
Okay? This story blows.
We're doing
and
whatever
we're gonna get through it anyway. We fucking know how. So you know what? I am not laughing at the victims. We're just trying to get through this. Okay?
No, we're literally just laughing at each other.
Hi.
Hi.
What up? It's been
A minute.
It's been a minute. It's been a day for all of us, but we're just gonna power through. Be sure to listen to our Shoot the Shit episode that will come out soon. It's very
You'll find out all the adventures we have had.
all the adventures because there's been a couple. But I wanted to shout out our new Patreons first. So we have Lindsey, and I'm gonna say Lindsey because she's not this one.
Not
Lindsey
this one.
with an A.
Yes.
And in my brain I say Lindsey. So she's so cute. She told us how she found us. How'd she find us?
Through your TikTok. That's
Because Mia's so famous. That's
Yeah,
right.
Mia's so famous.
Yeah,
I remember you showing me that.
Mia got us a Patreon. So
Yeah.
hi, Lindsey.
Hi.
And
we love you.
yes,
Former
thank
Lindsey.
you.
Oh, no,
Former Lindsey.
Also,
Also Lindsey. And then Jennifer Trumbull, who is I've known her for forever,
Oh.
and she's amazing, and
Thank you,
I'm obsessed with
Jennifer.
her.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
We donated to the Greater New Orleans Foundation
Yay.
with our September Patreon funds.
Yes. So
Yes.
that's you guys.
Yeah.
You're a
so
patron.
you patrons
Thank you.
had
Help.
you gave $226 to the Greater New Orleans Foundation. So that's super cool. My God, listener tales. Send us your listener
Oh
tales.
my God,
We
yes,
completely by this time
please.
it will be past
Yeah.
October 27th, but send them to us anyway. Because
Please.
I want
Listener lore.
listener lore. That's what we did. Yeah, listener lore. Listener lore. Send
Listener
us
lore.
in your lories.
Give us your
Your
lore.
lores.
Yeah, because
Your
we
lore
want
stories,
to
your
read them. Like, we don't want to fucking do all the work. You guys do something. Make yourselves
Oh my
We don't want to do all the work. You guys do something for this podcast. Jesus Christ.
No, but seriously, like, if you have, I don't care if it's we don't care if it's something like a creepy
Yeah,
thing that happened
Yeah,
to
it could be
you.
paranormal.
We don't care.
Or,
I
like-
have 2 paranormal stories I'm going to tell.
I don't know what the stories are. Anything, I just want to know. Do listener lore. It's gonna be
Listener
fucking
lore,
awesome.
please.
I want to hear the stories.
I wanna
The
hear
ones I've had a
spooky.
couple sent to me, and so far they're pretty fucking wild. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
Also, I want to shout out Jamie.
Yeah.
I apologize for your life, and I apologize to Ryan for your life.
What is happening?
She told me she was listening, like binged us, but she
Oh.
was having terrible dreams.
Oh, that's
and
right.
then saging all the time.
Oh, girl.
Very
and
sorry.
then-
Sorry,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's-
Sorry about
thank
your
you, I
life.
love
That's
you.
why a lot of
Thank
these
you.
we start with like a protection meditation because we know.
Sometimes, it can get real hard.
I was having nightmares last night, but I think that was more Squid Game related than
Probably, because
It
that's a
is.
lot to pack in your brain
It was a lot
of that show.
But that show was really good, and I just blew through it. Couldn't help it. And I didn't even want to watch it. I was like,
Yeah, she was fighting us.
like, meh, meh, meh. And then you're still on episode 1, and you're on 5.
I have to wait for the goddamn husband.
I know.
I know.
This is
I know.
this
That's
is
the
where-
one, though.
This is the where I'm like, sing
I
goodbye.
know. That's the one thing I'm like, this is the only show we're doing this, Brent, because I don't want to wait.
Oh, and I wanted to give this is just a personal shout out to my neighbors, Kim and her boyfriend.
Kim is a patron of ours.
Kim is a patron
Yeah.
of ours. But her boyfriend is like, they're the best neighbors that you could ever have in the entire world. Like, you guys know they've been so busy
Yeah.
between coronation and the rescue and just my own dogs and work and all this stuff. And my family was here. And so I did not get my lawn mowed. I hadn't mowed my lawn in like 2 months. I'm not even going to lie. Like, it was
Stress
bad.
out. It's
It was
long and
bad.
luscious.
It was long and luscious, but it was like the long. It was the so long that it actually like folds over.
Oh yeah, it kind of
Like,
does little twists and
this
stuff
stuff,
in the
yeah.
yard, like Lindsey's hair. It
Yeah,
just
yeah.
kind of has
This
little.
is what my yard was like.
That's true.
Oh my god, that is so
and,
funny.
And also, like,
It's true.
He's so great because every spring he texts me and he's like, time to turn on the water. And so I go downstairs and I flick my little thing and he does my sprinklers. And then in the fall, he always blows them out for me, which is amazing.
Well, he blows
And then
it
this
out.
time
Yeah, girl.
I'm so embarrassed, but I'm so grateful at the same time he mowed my lawn for me.
Aw.
And so I texted them and he like helped me with my fence. Like, they're just seriously.
Wow, so I just really want to take you on a fucking ride today.
Yeah.
Friends,
It's not right. I don't really
Family.
wanna go on.
this is rough. Holy
All the triggers.
shit balls. So every trigger.
Every trigger. So if you don't
Name a trigger. Just name one.
Animal abuse.
Animal,
rape,
rape,
torture,
torture,
child abuse,
child abuse. This is a survivor story.
which is good.
Which
We
is
need,
good.
We need one.
You need that light at the end of the tunnel for this.
Yeah,
one.
because it's been a rough couple of months with the death and the murder.
Yeah, and even like a rough couple of months for us all personally.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's just kind of been a lot.
Yeah.
But before we get to the survival part, it's gonna be really.
It's gonna be
fucking rough.
horrendous.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the survival story of Michelle Knight, Amanda Berry, and Gina DeJesus. Are you ready?
Gina DeJesus.
Gina DeJesus. Buckle in. So we're gonna start with Michelle Knight. So these 3 girls had disappeared, all by the same person. So I'm just gonna go through each one individually. Spoiler alert, that's what this story is. They were literally held captive for 10 years. Great. So Michelle Knight was 21 years old. She disappeared on August 23rd after leaving her cousin's house.
Goldie. It was inappropriate
Wow.
timing.
Whoa, Goldie, that
So
was
she just
funny.
took it and went
She's
into
like,
the
"Okay,
kids'
thanks,
room."
bye." 21-year-old Michelle Knight disappeared on August 23rd, 2002 after leaving her cousin's house. Michelle is a whopping 4'7".
Okay, I know this.
Damn it.
Dr. Phil. Their BFFs.
Yes, because I saw the picture of them and I was going to show it to you
He
for reference of how tiny she
loves
is.
her.
Just so you know, I googled how tall Danny DeVito is and he is 3 inches taller.
Oh,
He's 4'10".
God, I didn't know she was
Wow.
that tiny.
Yeah, that tiny.
I don't know, but I love that was what you were like. Yep.
She's like, yeah,
Know
I
this
know. I
story.
know this story. Because she's best friends with Dr. Phil.
Well, he's done so many episodes with her
yeah.
and like trying to help other women that have been kind of in the same thing with
Right.
like they try to. It's just
Just makes me think of.
But I
Rome.
remember her because she's tiny little baby.
She's tiny.
Yeah.
So Michelle was handed a shit hand from the very beginning, which makes this even
Yeah.
more of a bummer. She had a pretty rough childhood. She loved growing up in Cleveland, but she hated her life at home. Her and her family grew up in extreme poverty, and her family even lived in a car for a time.
Mhm.
She said, quote, "We didn't have a couch to sit on. We didn't have a stove. Just to give us a hot, warm meal, I had to cook on a space heater."
Oh my
Wow.
God.
And she was almost like a mom to her siblings. And I think I couldn't really find a bunch on her parents, but like it's kind of sounding like you know, they were off
They
doing
were
fuck
kind
knows
of-
what.
yeah.
And so she was responsible for her siblings. Her brother Edward said that she was basically always there for anything they needed. Brushing teeth, eating food, going to bed. She was like a
She
second
took
mom.
over the caregiver.
She was also interviewed on ABC when she was like 7 years old for delivering her baby brother.
What?
Yeah, it was like this girl like helped deliver her baby brother, and so ABC News was like, "Well, fuck," and she's like, "Yeah, so I saw the bunch of water just go." And then the baby came like really fast. Was basically what the interview was with little tiny
Wow.
Michelle Knight.
That's so wild.
Yeah. She described her life as traumatic, saying that she suffered sexual and emotional abuse, and a male family member began sexually abusing her at 5.
Ugh.
Another quote from her, "You name it, I went through it. I got to the point where I said I'm safer on the streets than I am in my own home, so basically I ran away." She was only 14 at the time that she ran away, but she figured, you know, anything is better than like what I'm getting here.
Yeah.
She said that a lot of times she didn't know where her next meal was going to come from. And for a while, she lived in a garbage can because she was so tiny that she just popped it on its side. She stole a blanket from someone's back porch and like laid the garbage can on its side and like snuggled up inside of it. And she slept under the overpass for a while. And she said that did I say over the underpass or under the overpass?
Under the overpass.
Okay, that was correct. She was under the overpass. She doesn't trust anybody,
Yes.
especially men.
Well,
Obviously.
Sure.
Yeah.
And she's only 14. She's super young. She's off on her own. One day, a very tall man approached her. And she was like, "The fuck are you doing approaching me, man? Bruh, like, go. This is good. No
Yeah.
men approaching me. I don't need that." Well, he offered her refuge at a local Baptist church where she would be given food, clothes, and a shower. And she said later, this man, like, completely revolutionized the way that she thought about men. He was like, she said he was kind of tall, kind of like a, like, intimidating kind of guy. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to take you to this church." And she's like,
Yeah. Are you really?
but she would go there all the time. People knew her, and she kind of was just, you know, just gave her a little warm place to sleep at night. However, at one point, a neighbor saw her, whether she was under the overpass or at the church, and the neighbor saw her, called her parents, and was like, "Hey, your kid is sleeping in a garbage can. Come get her." And so her parents came and got her, like forcibly brought her back home, put her back in school. The night she came back, she was abused again by that guy. Like the night she came back. I read that he actually like laughed at her and said like, "You really thought you could get away from me?"
Oh no.
Knight became pregnant by someone she was seeing. It wasn't by this man.
Okay.
Her nasty, disgusting abuser still tried to rape her while she was pregnant. But she was like, "I'm growing another life inside of me. You can fuck right off." She got like her
Wow.
fucking, she was like,
Mama Bear came
Yeah,
out.
Mama Bear came out. She said, quote, "I wanted to be the best mom. I wanted to be better than my mom. It was difficult because I didn't have very much money." One day, she goes out and starts hunting for a job. And her son is born at this point. His name is Joey.
Oh.
And so she's out looking for a job, and she leaves baby Joey with her mom. And when she got back, she realized that her stepfather, who I believe his name was Carlos, had grabbed Joey by the leg and fractured his knee. Yeah. Social services was called when
I
he
was
went into the
gonna say.
hospital. Obviously, he was taken into foster care. And she tried to say, like, "This isn't my normal, like,
I don't live here.
you
I'm
know,
not
yeah, I
really-
don't live here. I'm just, like, I just had a baby, and and they were like, no."
You know, yeah, it's hard because it's like you feel for her because she's had her child taken away
Yeah.
from her for nothing of her own fault other than, you know, trusting the wrong person. But at the same time, I mean, I see it from social services point of view.
Totally.
Like, she wasn't safe there.
Totally.
Like,
Yeah.
the kid certainly wasn't safe
Like,
there.
social
so-
services just has to do what they can do to keep the kids safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was in the spring of 2002 that this happened. So after social services was called, Michelle moved in with her cousin Lisa, and she was like, "My goal is to get my fucking kid back." She immediately moved in with her cousin, and her cousin introduced her to another cousin named Deanna. So she moves in with Lisa. Lisa introduces her to another cousin, Deanna. Deanna introduced her to Emily Castro, and they quickly became super good friends. Michelle learned that Emily's parents were divorced, but she still saw her dad, Ariel Castro, who was the elementary school bus driver.
I'm sad that his name is Ariel
I
because that is
know.
disdain upon
And-
the Little Mermaid and Ariel.
Dingle Hopper.
Dingle Hopper.
Oh my god. Check out our TikTok.
Which I want to clarify though, because I had to clarify it in a comment. It looks like we're telling you
that Dinglehopper came from Aladdin, which is not what we were
They
saying.
start the video singing Aladdin. I
Yes.
think they're singing The Little Mermaid, so I say Dinglehopper, and they both say, no, you dumb fuck. That is not The Little Mermaid. That is the entire TikTok video. You don't even have to watch it now, because that's the whole thing. They're like,
Dinglehopper.
I was gonna say, too, I don't talk about this shit stain on society until the very end. Because fuck him. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm going to give you a little into his background because it's applicable, but like, fuck that guy. On August 23rd, 2002, Michelle had an appointment at 2:30 with social services about getting Joey back. But she lost her way to the case management meeting, and she had to walk 3 hours to get to this meeting.
Holy shit.
She's walking, she can't find it, she's literally starting to panic. And she has like...
And because they don't wait for you, man. They got no time
No,
for that.
and they
if you miss
actually-
it, like, you're done.
They actually offered her a ride, and she said, no, like, someone in my family's taking me, and then that person bailed, like, the day of. And when she tried to call back, they were like,
Too bad.
we offered, yeah. So she's walking for 3 hours, she's like, fuck, I can't find it, and, you know, if I'm late, like, fuck,
You're
if I'm
done,
ever
yeah.
gonna get my kid back. So she walked into a Family Dollar store, which, by the way, have you guys ever been into a Family Dollar store?
Mhm.
It is not $1.
No.
Yeah, that's the one that's like
the one
tricky.
that pisses me off
Mhm.
every
it's
time.
not Family Dollar is not the
It's
dollar
a grocery store. Anyway, she walked into a Family Dollar to speak with the clerk about where this address was. And the clerk was like, oh, I actually think it's like, turn left here, it's like right over there. Also in the store was Ariel Castro.
Oh,
And
God.
Ariel Castro overheard
no.
her saying, I'm lost. I don't know where to go. And he came up to her and said, oh my God, I totally know where that is. Let me take you there.
And she knows him because she was
And
friends
she
with
knows
Emily
him
Castro.
because she's
Emily.
friends with his daughter. But
God, I can't imagine what his daughter's.
God, yeah.
oh, apparently I moved Ariel Castro to right after this. So apparently I do talk about him early on. But he doesn't get to be first.
No, doesn't get to be first.
No. Michelle was like, oh, sweet, you're Emily's dad. And he's like, yeah, totally. And he's like, cool, come get into my car and we'll fucking go. This was the last time that Michelle was seen before she disappeared. So, little background on nasty Ariel Castro. He was born July 10th, 1960 in Duialco, Puerto Rico, to Pedro Castro and Lillian Rodriguez. He had 9 siblings.
Oof.
His parents divorced when he was a child, and he moved to the United States with his mother and 3 siblings. They settled in Reading, Pennsylvania, and then moved to Cleveland, Ohio, where Castro's father and some other family were living.
That's where Pete's from. Our friend Pete.
Oh,
He's from Reading,
hey,
Pennsylvania.
Pete.
Hi, babe.
Castro met his girlfriend, I don't know if it's Grimilda Figueroa, when his family moved across the street from hers in the 80s. In 1992, the couple moved to their own home at 2207 Seymour Avenue. Figueroa's sister, Elida Caraballo, said, quote, all hell started breaking loose when they moved into that home.
Oof.
Caraballo and her husband Frank claimed that Castro beat Figueroa, breaking her nose, ribs, and arms, and causing a blood clot in her brain that resulted in an inoperable tumor. He beat
Holy
someone into a tumor.
Fuck.
How does that even happen?
Oh
I
my
don't know. He
God.
also threw her down a flight of stairs and cracked her skull and dislocated her shoulder twice.
Wow.
Oh my God.
That's
he needs to
intense.
be.
In 1993,
tar
he was
pits.
arrested for domestic violence but was not indicted by a grand jury. Do you guys know the difference between, like, what is a grand jury? That's like where you don't have a...
Before.
So grand juries are
Um,
anonymous. They bring you in, or they bring in like witnesses and people that are involved. But and the grand jury can ask questions
Okay.
of both sides.
Okay.
Then the grand jury will then decide whether or not to indict a person, meaning that they get like an
Like a
actual
trial.
charge and then a trial.
So like a pre-trial trial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To make sure.
I mean, it's
everything-
the
To make sure
trial
it's-
to determine if.
It's
And so like
legit.
that's what would happen a lot of times with like police that were, you know, like Rodney King and
Oh.
whatnot. So like a lot of times when those things happen, they go before a grand jury and the grand juries choose not to indict, which then causes.
Got it. So that's just a little blurb about his shit life
Gross.
because he beat the fuck out of his wife.
Gross.
Okay.
And just think that had he been indicted and charged, he wouldn't have necessarily been out to do everything else. What
This
is going
is-
on with you, Jiggle Jaggle?
I always am
She is
fidgeting.
always
I'm
jiggle
always
she's
doing
fidgeting.
it.
But you're never this close to each
Yeah,
other.
I don't think you're ever
Jiggly.
Sorry.
I don't know why the jiggly's making me anxious.
I'm sorry.
I just like
It's so
just like
hard. It's
da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
so hard. Okay, so back to the abduction of Michelle Knight. So Michelle gets into his car. And she's like, this is fucking disgusting. And I wrote, it probably looked like my car. It's just, there's like fast food wrappers everywhere. And fucking, they start driving. And he goes, oh, I need to stop at my house really quick.
Oh.
No.
No,
He
I'm
told
trying to
her-
make it to court.
He told her it would just take a second. And she had a chance to see Emily. He's like, Emily's at my house.
Everybody wants to see Emily.
Everyone wants to see Emily.
I don't want to see Emily.
He also said, girl, I've got some puppies in my house.
Oh, God damn it.
She goes, oh my God, my son Joey loves puppies. And he's like, oh, you can pick one out to give Joey. Like, after you get him back. You're totally going to get him back because I'm going to drive you to this appointment. So he drives her to 2207 Seymour Avenue. And it is not very far from her own house. Nothing special, just a white house. Nasty on the outside, but, you know, it had like 6-foot fences in the front yard, which was weird. And then he had boarded up all the windows.
Ugh.
It looked like it was an abandoned house.
You're
Squatting in
talking about areas of Cleveland that are suffering extreme poverty.
Oh,
so,
I
mean,
read
it's
his
not
house
like,
was worth $36,000.
It's not like
It
he
doesn't
had a
stick
shit
out like a
house
sore thumb.
in the middle of a bunch of nice houses. You know,
Right.
these are people with the bars on their window, the bars
Yeah.
on their doors. You know, and I mean, super
So even
creepy.
like a 6-foot fence wouldn't be weird to have to keep people
Yeah,
out
No,
of your
because
shit.
because
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So they show up to the house and he goes, dude, the puppies are inside. So she walks inside.
Oh, God. Dun dun.
Windows were boarded from the inside, trash food, nasty pee smell. His house was just like disgusting. There are puppies upstairs. You should go see them.
upstairs.
Oh, no.
Upstairs. And he says, quote, come on. You really don't have to be afraid. It's me, Ariel, Emily's dad.
Okay, that would have been a very big red flag.
Yeah.
He led her to a pink room and said the puppies are in there. There was like a box in there, and he says, go in there. They're in the box. You can go and pick one. She goes over to the box, and it's just empty. As soon as she walked into the pink room, and it was literally painted like Pepto-Bismol pink. So as soon as she went into the room, he slams the door.
Oh,
And
I
she
knew
hears it behind her. And she's like,
Is he in the room with her, or he just?
fuck. He's in the room with her. And he puts his hand over her mouth and says, if you scream, I will kill you. He tied her ankle. I already said all the trigger warnings, but like, I just want to give you one more chance.
One more chance to get out.
To get out, because it doesn't really get better from here.
We're getting into
Till the end.
deep, dark shit.
Yeah, know that they live, okay? Just remember this,
Right.
all right? So he ties her ankles and wrists together with an extension cord. And he tied them so tight that they were actually like cutting into her skin.
Ugh.
And then he tied her feet and wrists together behind her back and around her neck, which
I was
is
gonna
known
say
as
is the hog
hog-tying
tie.
someone.
That sounds like a hog tie.
So literally arms and legs, and then he suspended her from a clothesline.
What?
Like arms and legs tied like both back behind her, and then her neck is up like this, and she's just hanging on a clothesline.
Fucking God.
Kind of like the boss in 9 to 5, but scarier and real.
He said, quote, you're not going to leave here for a long time. Maybe not till Christmas. And it was August.
Oh, God.
And then he starts to undress himself.
Oh, no.
She immediately starts begging him to let her go. She's like, please, please. I was just trying to get my son back. Like, I won't tell anybody.
I'm
And
friends with your daughter, creepo.
Dude.
He takes a photo of Joey that she had like in her pocket and
Oh.
ripped it up in front of her.
Oh my God.
Saying she would never see saying she would never see her son again.
Oh, my fuck.
He shoved a dirty sock into her mouth, duct taped it all the way around her head so that she couldn't spit it out, and masturbated onto her.
Oh.
And she's still hogtied, by the way.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm imagining. Oh, boy.
He says, stay put.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you, bro.
And said he was going to get some food. And before he left, he turned the radio up as loud as it would go and left her hanging there for more than a day and a night before he came back.
Imagine what your muscles would feel like.
You just be
Exhaustion.
numb, I
and
think.
like, oh my God,
Yeah.
when you got down, like,
Everything would hurt.
oh my God.
Now, I'm sorry, I might have missed this. So I know he beat his wife, but are they all like is
is he the only one living in the home, or are other people living there
He's
as
the
well?
only one living there, but his kids kind of like come and go. So
Okay.
Emily had told her that her parents were divorced, but that she still saw her dad on occasion. What you kind of find later is like his house was so disgusting that I don't think like their mom really wanted them there. When they
Right.
did come, it was like very rarely.
And
But his wife
Is-
has divorced him at this point.
okay, so the wife that he beat up was Emily's mom.
Correct.
Like, okay.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep. When he did return, he came with a McDonald's breakfast sandwich that he tried to force her to eat. When she refused, he unhogtied her and took her into another room and raped her. Immediately after, he started crying, just bawling hysterically because he's a little bitch.
Yeah.
Immediately after, he starts crying, saying he was abused as a child and basically couldn't help himself. And Michelle Knight's not an idiot. Okay, so
And she's also, this is also not the first time this has happened to her.
Michelle Knight is not stupid. She's smart. And so she is like, I'm going to try and seem empathetic to him. Like, I'm going to make him think that I'm listening to him and I have empathy towards him, hoping he would let her go. Somehow during this exchange, she mentioned that she was 21 and he lost his fucking mind. And I think it's
Wasn't young
because
enough.
he wanted someone young, but she was so small, she looked only like 14.
Yeah. I was just gonna say she's small and she
says to this day that she thinks the only reason that she was taken was
Is because
because
she
he
was
thought
because he thought she
he
was
thought she
younger
was
than she
younger.
was.
So he takes her down into the basement and he uses 2 8-foot rusty chains to chain her to a pole in the middle of the floor. And then he loops the chains around her stomach and the pole from like her waist up to her neck. So all her torso was wrapped with chain.
fucking dog.
She said sleeping was the absolute fucking worst thing in the entire world.
Well, how would you pee or poop? Like,
On
Oh, don't
yourself.
worry. Yeah, I get
Okay.
there.
I
And
asked a question I
then
really don't
I
want an
know.
answer to.
Mhm.
to add to the horrible thing, like just to add, like cherry on top, he puts a motorcycle helmet on top of her head. She would frequently pass out because she was hyperventilating. Not only was she panicking because she was tied up, she literally couldn't
and you can't breathe in
because
that,
she was tied up.
Well, and if
and then she's in her helmet, and so there's not a lot of airflow, and she doesn't
Right,
have her
and
hands
you're
to
hyperventilating.
pop the little thing open. Yeah,
Right.
she would pass out, come to, pass out, come to.
that might have been a blessing.
She quickly noticed that he would have a routine. So he would go to McDonald's in the morning, come home and force feed her, and then he would go to work. And then he would come home, watch porn, and then come into the basement to rape her. And apparently he watched porn very loudly.
Ugh.
God, so you'd know when it was coming.
He was not only like shooting down her like physically tying her up and not feeding her a lot and whatever. He was also completely like ripping down her psyche. So he started saying, no one's going to come looking for you. No one gives a fuck. You're never going to see your son again. You're never getting out of
Well,
here.
and the longer you stay there, the more that seems completely true.
Yeah.
And if you have seen any of the interviews, like Michelle Knight is a bad bitch.
Yeah, she is.
She's a tough bitch. Okay.
Yeah.
And she said, I knew that he was lying. He was just trying to continue the torture. But she said there was a little part of me the whole time that was like, what if no one is coming for me? What if no one finds
Well, and
me?
you're weak.
Oh my God.
You're
you
like,
know,
of course. I mean, it's.
I can't
human to-
imagine.
Yeah.
It's,
What I would even be thinking at that moment.
it's kind of like her past was both good and bad for her in this situation.
Because it taught her how to
Yeah.
survive. something
Because
like this.
because she did have to literally
Power
just
through.
survive
Yeah.
for so long on her own and her own quick wits and all of that. But at the same time, having the family that she came from and it not being stable and, sounding like her parents weren't. Like, I'm actually kind of surprised when they found out she was on the street that they went and got her.
Yeah,
I
me
know.
too.
Like,
I know.
so, I mean, I can kind of see that, like, after days and days and days are going by, even if you didn't think, oh my God, nobody's looking for me, it would be like, who would think that this dude would have me?
And not only is she thinking no one's, what if no one's looking for me? She's thinking, where's my kid gonna go?
Yeah.
I was supposed to go get
Right.
my kid. Like, what is gonna
Yeah.
happen now? And if nobody knows what happened to me, then like I can't. And we're not moms again, but like I
Right.
can't imagine the fear that must go through your body when you
I would
don't
feel that
know
way
what's
about my
gonna-
dog.
Oh, I would feel that way about anybody.
Well,
you
yeah.
know, like the thought of like what is going to happen
too,
if
yeah.
I'm not here. And I can't imagine like
you don't
the
have kids,
fear.
but you do have an Oma.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
He said nobody was looking for her. The news hadn't covered it. He's like, I don't see any flyers up. No one's coming. He would have people over to the house. Like, he just lived his life. He would have people over. His band practiced every night on every Saturday night, every weekend.
Nobody
Where
was
in
wanting
the
to hear that
house?
I
band.
don't know, maybe his garage.
Oh, okay.
I
I
don't
was like, I
know.
was trying to.
But she would hear it. And again, it was extremely loud. And she would think, should I scream? Should I do something? But then she would think, what if these are like nasty people up there who are
Exactly.
also going to come down and rape me if they find out I'm down here? So she is just like,
What do you do?
what
Yeah.
do you do?
Yeah.
When he would leave for work, she would bang her motorcycle helmet against the pole, like hoping someone would be able to hear her.
Smart.
He did end up bringing her back upstairs to the pink room a few weeks later and chained her to a radiator. But she spent weeks in
That
a basement. He raped her multiple times a day. And he would do this really gross thing where they had like some pillow talk afterwards.
Oh no!
He would lay down on her mattress and just like, he would constantly say things like, I don't want to do this. I would just like, I am this way, just like an alcoholic, and like, I don't want to hurt people, but people have hurt me. He also said this disgusting thing to her.
Oh, no.
Quote,
Oh,
I
no.
wish I had gotten to that little Jean-Benet Ramsey first. If some other bastard didn't get to her first, it could have been me.
That makes my stomach upset.
Isn't that the grossest thing you've
That's
ever
so
heard?
gross.
Oh my fuck! And I've seen some fucked up movies and shit.
At what point he
Ugh.
brought up a radio and a TV for her to use in her room. So he would have kind of these moments of, I don't want to say empathy because he was
It
not.
almost sounds like he started to treat her
Groomer.
like she was a girlfriend.
He
Yeah.
reminds me of Jeffrey Dahmer in that he just
Yeah.
wanted someone to love him and was just trying to find a way to make someone stay quiet but always stay around.
To do everything he
Right.
wanted.
Yeah, like that was what Jeffrey Dahmer did,
Yeah.
and that's kind of the vibe you get, which I have no sympathy for him whatsoever. He's disgusting. But it's interesting to see what his brain thinks this is versus
Yes.
what
What
is
it was,
actually
yeah.
happening.
Yes.
A few months later, he said, once I get 2 more girls in the house, I'll let you go. And she said, well, she didn't say this, but she thought, I don't want you to get 2 more girls in the house. But she hoped that if he tried it, he would get caught.
Right.
So being the genius that she is, she used this to her advantage. She would say things like, you want me to trust you, but you told me like you'd give me a puppy. Now the puppy's not here. You want to trust me and like just expect me to trust you, like show me that I can trust you.
Hmm.
So he brings her a puppy the next day. Sorry in advance.
I knew
I'm
it. I was like,
sorry.
this puppy ain't
I'm
going
sorry. I'm
last.
sorry.
I knew it.
He came home with a little pit bull puppy and she named him Lobo.
Oh.
When he would rape and beat her, he would usually chain the dog up outside. And one
yeah,
evening,
because a dog would like
Attack him.
in all seriousness, I really think if something was happening to me, Goldie would tear somebody apart.
Absolutely.
one evening he was so drunk when he came into her room that he didn't move the dog to the backyard. And when he came towards her, Lobo went for him.
Oh.
And he literally picked up the dog, snapped its neck, and then threw it on the mattress next to her. Okay, that's done. No more dog stuff.
I still heard it.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And this, like, if Michelle wasn't broken before, that just like, and she only had the puppy, I don't know if it was a few weeks or months, but it was very, she slept with him all the time.
They
And she was
bonded.
by herself. This was like, and she would say, like, we're going to get out of here. Like, you get to, I just got goosebumps. She would say, like, you get to meet my son, Joey. And this dog, she just adored him. And he just, like, it was nothing.
Fucking Christ.
So,
I don't know. You know, you can't. Well, no, because I'm just like, you just can't say what you would do in a situation like that
I can't.
because you know you're terrified and you're shocked and you're everything else.
Or like when she's in the
But I
basement,
feel-
it's easy to say, "Oh, just scream." But like that's not. There's way more
Yeah.
at play
Yeah,
here than
what-
just.
yeah.
You never know
Because
what that
I feel
person
like my
is.
initial reaction, like if you killed my dog,
I would like
it would
rage
it would
towards you.
yeah, it
You'd
would
like mom
ignite-
lifting up a car adrenaline
yeah, it would
rush.
ignite a fury in me. But then I'm like, but that's if it happened to me right now.
I was gonna say.
And she's
She's been
21 at
d-
this point.
beaten
She's lived her
down
whole life in this terrible environment.
trauma.
right,
And she's been there for months now. With
Right.
him
Yeah.
saying,
And
like,
it's
you're
like-
nothing, you're trash.
yeah, what can you?
And I mean, I would
he's
probably just be
not-
like,
That's another thing. She's a small girl. He is not a
He's
small
not a
man.
small man.
No.
He's disgusting, fat slovel of a hobbit.
Oh,
Nasty.
don't disparage hobbits.
You're right.
Oh.
Hobbits are good people.
Um,
Well, they're not really people. But
at this point,
sorry.
it's okay. At this point, he had her for 8 months, and he says, "You know what we're gonna do tonight? You're gonna go outside for the very first time."
Oh my fuck.
And she's still wearing all of her original clothing from 8 months ago. She hasn't showered. There's been no bathroom access. She has just been raped multiple times a day. And she also had a puppy in her room, so you know that there's some of that business on her too. And
Oh my
so he
God.
changes her clothes and like makes her put on these clothes and gives her glasses and a wig and says, "Come out to the backyard and help me with some stupid random bullshit." I literally wrote some stupid random bullshit.
I would be like, let me help you with some gardening.
I
Yeah,
want
I
to
would've
think I
fucking-
would just run or something. Or I would think like the second I was outside, climbing fences, bitch. But I
But yeah,
I don't
mean,
know.
he's got a 6-foot fence. He probably
8 months ago. 8 months.
Right.
8 months. She's in there.
Yeah,
Like I can't
she's
even.
right,
First
no.
of all, she's weak as fuck too.
Yeah.
Right, because
Oh
all
my
she's
God.
had is McDonald's breakfast sandwiches.
Like
forcibly,
maybe once a day.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Shoved into her
No
mouth.
water.
No water. Brings her back in and he says, "Okay, take off your clothes." And she's like, "Okay, give me back my clothes." And he says, actually, you're just gonna stay naked the rest of the time."
Oh no.
And so he chained her
Ugh.
back up in the pink room, completely naked, for 4 months. 4 months.
God.
Authorities believed at this point that she had run away voluntarily due to being upset
She'd
over
run
losing
away
custody of her
before,
son.
Yeah.
Of
And yeah,
course.
she'd run away before. After 15 months, her disappearance was removed from the National Crime Information Center database because they
It
thought
should
she left.
never be removed.
No.
Even if
No.
you.
But
even if
she
you
was
left
an adult
voluntarily.
too. She was an
Right.
adult.
Fuck yeah.
She had a traumatic thing happen. And even though, I mean, anyone looking from the outside would say, "Oh my God, she just had her kid taken away because her stepdad broke his fucking leg." Like, that sure seems like a trigger that would maybe cause
Yeah.
someone to
But at the
leave.
same time, she's got this group of friends. Like, if one of you guys like had a kid and it got taken away and disappeared, I would be out there like, no. Like, this bitch wanted her kid back.
That's
She
what-
would
yeah.
not have just disappeared. She would not have
I
just
know.
left her kid and not shown up for this
She
appointment.
probably doesn't have that good of a. They're not that good of friends then.
Yeah, and
Mm,
I
clearly.
assume, I mean, this is just me saying this, but I think by the time that had happened, let's see, she got pregnant at 18 and she ran away at 14. So if she moved back when she was 15, maybe she hadn't talked to those people in 3 years.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, that's a good point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
that's
Like
true.
a significant
she
amount of
knew
time has
that
passed.
was okay.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that.
so
And I have to interrupt you here because I have to know something now. You can cut it. But did Emily know that she was there?
mm-mm.
Okay.
Nobody knew. Like literally nobody knew.
Well, I mean, no.
There's like a point where they kind of suspect something, but he just convinces them otherwise. I mean, imagine your dad's like thinking there's something suspicious happening here, and you would definitely be like, "No way." Like my dad would never do something like that. Like you
Right,
just
yeah.
completely are like, "I'm fucking insane. I didn't hear
Right.
beating in the basement just
Yeah.
now." You know what I mean? You just
Right.
convince yourself.
It's been months. He killed the dog, which is I'm still very spiteful about.
We're very upset.
Not that I'm not spiteful about the whole thing, but I'm just extra salty about dogs.
8 months later, on April 21st, 2003, 16-year-old Amanda Berry went missing the day before her 17th birthday. She actually almost called into work, so she was abducted on her way home from work, and she was going to call in that day because it was her birthday the next day, but she didn't.
Oh my god.
She was walking home from her job at Burger King when Ariel Castro pulled up and again offered her a ride. Amanda Berry was also friends with Emily Castro. So if you
Oh,
remember
man.
Michelle, that's how he knew Michelle. Same thing. He's like, "Hey, I see that you're on your way home from Burger King. Let me
Aw.
take you home." And she's like, "Okay, cool." She immediately trusted him again because she knew his daughter, and so she gets into his car. Amanda had a cell phone on her, which it's 2003. I don't know how the girl had a cell phone on her.
I did.
We had them by then. They
Yeah.
were just the big brick Nokias.
Yeah,
Ooh.
at 16, I got a Nokia.
Really? Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
Everybody had a Nokia.
I was
They
was the
literally
only one.
10 years old.
Well, that's all they had.
It was before 10
Really.
year olds had cell phones. She gets into his car and he says, again, I just have to stop by home really quick. And you have a chance to catch up with Emily because she's over at my house. She's like, oh, cool, awesome.
Oh, gross.
And I feel like I vaguely remember also him saying that he had puppies for her, but don't quote me on that. I can't remember now. So Amanda had a cell phone, and when they got to his house and they were sitting in the driveway, he goes, hey, do you think I could like use your cell phone really quick? And she's like, okay, cool, like whatever. And then he goes, I just have to go like unchain my dog in the backyard really quick. I'm just gonna go do that. And she's like, okay. And so he comes back from the car and he says, okay, so I unchained my dog. You can go inside and see Emily, but I think she's in the bath. And she's like, that's...
So wait a minute, was she like waiting outside this whole time?
Yeah, she was like in the car. He said, can I use your phone? I'm going to go unchain my dog. And I don't know how long that took, but he just kind of kept her cell phone. I think it was...
It was a
Right.
tactic
to get her
It was-
cell phone.
yeah.
Yeah. So he goes, I'm going to go unchain my dog. Emily's inside. Go inside. When they got inside, he goes, let me show you around. You've never been here. Like, let me show you around my house.
Gross.
And Emily's in the bath, so we'll just like wait for her to get out. And he took her upstairs where Amanda saw something a little curious.
Was it a woman naked chained to a radiator?
Close. It was a woman laying on a bed watching television, and she just saw her through like a keyhole, basically. And she was like, that's fucking weird. Like, what the fuck? That woman was Michelle Knight. We
Michelle.
later learned. At this point, Michelle had been there for almost a year. And he took Amanda Berry into the next bedroom and just said, pull down your pants.
Oh, fuck.
And he raped her, took her into the basement, taped her wrists and ankles, and then he actually put a belt around her ankles over the tape. Well, Michelle had like gotten undone a few times or loosened it, and then I think it was
He's
trying
just
to-
figuring
yeah,
out
just-
new ways to keep
Yeah.
people.
He put the motorcycle helmet over her head and told her to just be quiet, don't
Ugh.
make any noise. And he actually said he would take her home. He said, if you stay quiet, I will fucking take you home.
Mm-mm.
He chained her to the pole, shut off all the lights, and left her in the dark with the motorcycle helmet on. And he took the TV from Michelle's room and moved it into the basement. And instead of turning up the radio, he turned up the TV, like on full blast.
How is he keeping Michelle quiet then? Well, I guess at that point she's probably
She's
so,
already
like
sweet and
Yeah, and
Yeah.
she doesn't know that there's a new girl there. He kept
Right.
them separate. So I have a picture that I can show you guys, but they did like a model of the house and how he organized it. So they were very...
separated.
The women were all separate, and then so when his family would come, they were like in random pockets of the house, and it was
so
gross.
weird. I hope they like tore that thing down and sewed the ground with salt.
This will kill your soul.
Oh god.
So there's a TV in the basement.
Is this another animal thing?
No.
Are there
No more
any
animal. No.
things?
Is it what what's playing?
She watched her mom and sister on the TV, like pleading for her to come back home.
Bro,
Yeah.
Oh.
that gave me so many chills.
I know. She
On the positive side, though, he couldn't tell her that nobody was looking for her because clearly they were.
So here's the super bummer.
I was gonna say there's
people
gotta
weren't looking for Michelle. Like even after they were rescued, no one came for her. Nobody. Yeah. Nobody came for her.
Well, this bitch fucking turned it around.
Isn't that disgusting?
now? But like,
yeah,
it's so
and
heartbreaking.
I know. It destroys your fucking soul. As soon as it happened, her mom was like on the TV. She's like, fucking, we're gonna find my kid. And so she watched her mother and sister on the TV, pleading for her abductor to come forward so she could come home. And you'd think this would like destroy your soul. But she actually said it made her like not
Like,
give up.
Yeah,
She
I
said-
can see that.
Yeah, quote, that kept me going. And I said, I'm going to make it home to you. And as long as you fight, I'm going to fight. On April 24th, 2003, the fourth day of Amanda Berry's abduction, he moved her to an upstairs bedroom and chained her to a radiator. When Michelle first met Amanda, which was like weeks later, she actually said that she had clothes on and Michelle was naked. Like the first time they met, she was standing there naked. And she was like so embarrassed that she was meeting somebody that she had to cover herself up with a blanket. And the other thing that the women started saying that is just a bummer is they said not only was he fucking with their brains, but if one of them had something that the other ones didn't, there was like a jealousy there, which
Of course, 'cause
Yeah,
you're in the
yeah,
you're in your basic
totally.
instinct, like basic
And
survival
I mean, these people
mode.
are down to their basic.
Yeah,
like,
so you're
survival
just
instinct.
on.
yeah.
Well, and that's a good way to keep them at odds to
Exactly.
each other, so that they aren't.
I really think he
Working
didn't want
together
them,
to gang
conversing. 3 women against 1 man. And it
Mm.
sucks because you were not in the situation, but you just want to be like, if you could just like have the strength, because he's been taking all their fucking strength away, and they
Yeah.
can
Right.
totally get out of it, but they can't get out of it. Like,
Right.
it's the room that Amanda stayed in was dark and disgusting and the size of like a closet. She said her mattress was old and nasty and smelled disgusting. And she had a bucket to use the bathroom that he emptied like once or twice a week. The FBI initially considered Amanda Berry a runaway until a week after she disappeared, when Ariel Castro used her cell phone to fucking call her mother. So
Like,
her kid's
you
been
gotta
missing a
wanna
week,
be caught
and
to
she
do that
fucking
kinda
sees on her
nonsense.
caller ID that her kid is calling.
And it's
So
him.
sadistic.
And it's him. And he says something along the lines of, I have Mandy, which only people extremely close to her called her that. And he said, she's fine. She wants to be with me, and she's my wife now.
Yeah, that's gonna
Ew.
make mom feel better.
And how old was Mandy? Forgot.
Day before her 17th birthday.
Mm.
This was before police really knew how to track phone calls, and this was one of the first like phone call tracking
Using
situations
cell
at the time.
towers
Yeah.
and-
The other thing that made it difficult to track phone calls is she's just a missing person. There's no other information on what's happened. And missing person cases are the hardest because you kind of just have to hope a witness saw something or someone
Yeah.
sees something suspicious, or you can't.
Because you don't even know where to
No,
start
you don't
looking
even know
from.
where to start. So the police were able to learn that Amanda's phone had been used within a 34-block area, but they couldn't pinpoint it unless the phone was used again, and it never
Wow,
was.
that
Well, and, like,
technology.
And 34 block, that's a lot
That's
of.
a significant.
Yeah.
Yeah. A few weeks later, Ariel Castro asked Amanda if she wanted anything from the store. And she said, yeah, can you like bring me a journal and some coloring books or something? And he brought them for her, and she used her journal to write down everything that happened every single day. And at the top, she would write 1x, 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x. For how many times he raped her that
I was
day.
gonna say, is that? Oh my god.
Yeah. A few months after the abduction of Amanda, Michelle became pregnant. And so rough. He would force her to miscarry. So he used blunt objects like bats and barbells. And at one point, he tried to starve her. Another point, he jumped on her stomach as she was sleeping. And then the next morning, he would beat her for miscarrying his child. He caused her to miscarry at least 5 times.
Oh my god, this
during her
woman!
captivity.
How is she upright?
I don't even know. He literally hated her. He was.
I was gonna say, she's getting so much punishment.
Yeah.
Is it because she was 21?
I don't know.
That's
I
what
don't know.
Who knows? Probably just tried things out on her.
Like, yeah, she was kept the longest, and he was terrible to all the women, but like she really
She got the
Got
shit.
really got it. Amanda Berry was featured in a 2004 segment of Fox's America's Most Wanted, which re-aired in 2005 and 2006.
Do you know who the host of that show is?
No.
John Walsh.
All right, Fox's Most Wanted. America's Most Wanted. And that re-aired in 2005 and 2006, and also linked her to Gina DeJesus, who by that point had also gone missing in Cleveland. They were like, these 3 women have gone missing within like 5 miles of each other. There's like absolutely no way that they're not connected. And on January 26, 2004, Ariel Castro gets a knock on the door. And it's Policia. Policia! The police were at his door to investigate claims against him for child abduction and child endangerment that had nothing to do with
these
the
3.
women that were in his
Yeah.
house. Remember, he was a fucking school bus driver. And
Jesus
this
Christ.
bastard worked for the Cleveland Metropolitan School District until he was fired for, quote, bad judgment. The child abduction and child endangerment charges, including using the bus to pick up his groceries, leaving a child on the bus while he went for lunch, and leaving the bus unattended while he went home and took a quick nap.
That's like
Christ.
George on Seinfeld just sleeping under his desk.
The morning that the police were at his door, he had picked 2 kids up in his school bus. I'm not laughing because it's funny.
It's
I
just fucking crazy.
there's
That,
So
you
he was still
couldn't-
employed by the time
that's
the
the
police
thing
got
that
there.
blows
Okay.
my mind.
You couldn't write this. If you saw this in a movie, and speaking of, there's a movie called, is it just called The Cleveland Abductions? I will look it up. Great
It's not a-
dramatized version of
I
a
was
true
gonna say, is it a
story.
Lifetime?
It has a,
Sounds like a lifetime.
Yeah.
oh my god, it has Taryn Manning plays Amanda Berry.
Oh, I
yeah.
remember
That's
this
a
because
good.
she was on
That's
a
good casting.
I
though.
know.
another goddamn Dr. Phil. She was on
Mm.
there promoting it, and Michelle was with her.
You should watch it. Like, I watched it before we started the podcast, and it was when I had heard a podcast episode about it, and I was like, I have to watch this movie, and the movie's really good. They do have the dog scene. Fast forward through it.
No,
I didn't
not gonna
watch it. It also, Ariel Castro is played by Tuco from Breaking Bad.
Oh, that's
wanna
good
say
casting as
Tuco.
well.
Yeah, they
that
did
makes
a very
sense.
good job. They did a very good job. I'll link in the show notes all the movies and TV shows
Documentaries and
and
stuff.
documentaries and stuff that are related to this, and Michelle's books. There's just a lot, so
Bear with us.
yeah. So that morning he had picked 2 kids up, dropped one off, and kept the other one on the bus while he went and ate inside of a Wendy's. Apparently he said, quote, "Lay down, bitch."
To the kid.
I'm sorry. I laugh at funerals. Okay, like I laugh when I'm
That's-
uncomfortable.
What we
And
yell
I'm
at each other.
Picturing like this, yes, like this tall guy telling a little kid, "Lay down, bitch," and the kid's like, "What the fuck is happening today?" So, and he makes the kid lay down while he goes inside and just gets some Wendy's.
Oh my god,
really
what a
quick.
piece of
Like,
shit.
like you could have just gone through the drive-through.
So police are like, "Dude, what the fuck?" And that's why they were at his house. When they knock on his door, he doesn't answer. So you want to know what the police do?
They leave.
Anyway,
They fucking leave. The goddamn school did an internal investigation, but he was a union employee.
Yep.
And so he was suspended for 60 days without pay. That's it. 2 fucking kids. I don't care where you took them. You fucking took them somewhere.
yeah.
Whether it was to Wendy's or chained up in your basement, that shit is shady, and you shouldn't be a fucking.
I
school
can't
bus driver.
believe that
The shit that
parents weren't like
people got like it.
burned down the school board
Dude,
for that.
seriously. Robert Wolford, a prison inmate who had lived in Tremont, I think is how you say it, claimed in July of 2012 that he had information about the location of Amanda Berry's body. He led police to an empty lot on Cleveland's west side, and they conducted a search that came up with nothing. And he was sentenced in January 2013 to 4.5 years in prison for obstruction of justice, making a false report, and making a false alarm. Amanda Berry was just 3 blocks away from that search.
God, that's crazy.
Yeah. Gina DeJesus.
Oh, Gina.
Gina, her name was Georgina. Georgina Lynn DeJesus disappeared on April 2nd, 2004, 1 year after Amanda Berry was kidnapped. She was 14.
Oh, fucking Christ.
Gina's father, Felix DeJesus, was friends with Ariel Castro. Yeah. He was in his fucking band.
I'm just realizing that, like, if he took Gina and, like, the band used to come over and practice,
His dad
They-
was there when his kid was in the basement.
right, not knowing,
Right.
Yeah.
just being so, like, scared and worried his kid's missing.
Yeah.
Well, all
that's
that,
gotta give
and,
him a
like,
head
and
fuck.
she's right there.
Gina grew up in a rougher part of town, but her family was a great one. She had loving parents, and even though they had little money, they were happy. On April 2nd, 2004, she was walking home from school with her friend Arlene Castro. She was last seen at a payphone with Arlene around 3 p.m. Arlene was calling her mother to see if she could go to Gina's, but her mother said no, so they went their separate ways. And Ariel drove up asking Gina if she had seen his daughter Arlene. She's like, yeah, she was just here. We made a phone call and she's like up, turn left, whatever. He's like, oh my God, I can't see her. Do you want to like get in my car and help me find my kid? She's like, I'm 14 and I'm a nice girl and I know you. Yeah, totally. I want to get in there and help you.
But, you know, at 14, if any of my friends' dads had pulled up and asked that, I would have.
Totally.
I would have totally. gotten in the car
I
and
would
not
have
thought
too.
twice
You wouldn't
about
have
it.
even thought twice about it. Oh, that was my PSA. No adult ever needs your help. If you're a
Yeah.
teenager and an adult asks you for your help, I mean, Ted Bundy would, that's how he got women. He would say he
Yeah.
needed help with something in his
I
car. Nobody
broke
needs
my
your help.
arm and I
And-
can't get my
Yeah, like,
body in here.
watch Sounds the limbs. I don't care what age you are.
We don't need your help.
Like,
Yeah,
you
it's
see
true, they
somebody
need your help.
struggling, like they're trying to move something into a van with no windows and they're wearing a cast. Do not let that cast fool you.
Agreed. So she gets into his car and he says, "Hey, I need your help moving some speakers really quick." And she's like, "Okay, cool. I'll totally help you." When he gets to his house, she gets out of the car and he goes, "Okay, so the speakers are upstairs." And he takes her, like, they go upstairs and he's like, "Oh, they're in that bathroom. Can you go in there and, like, grab them?" And she's like, "I guess." Same thing. He goes in there, closes the door behind him. And then he said, "Show me your privates."
Ooh, no.
She immediately gets disgusted and is like, "Ew." She actually said, one of the quotes was, "You're gonna go to jail." Like, she was like, "You're gonna go to jail if you do that." Absolutely not. Get me out of this house. And he starts, like, apologizing right away. He's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. You're totally right. It was super inappropriate. Totally leave. Go home, leave. But you can't go out the door you came in. You need to go out a different door." The door she went out of was the basement door. So he walks her to the basement and he's like, "That's the way out." And then fucking shuts the door behind her. And now she's in the basement.
Oh my God.
So he again ties her wrists and ankles to the pole and he does rape her. Afterwards, he puts the motorcycle helmet on her head, leaves her in a pitch black basement. Michelle said that she could hear Gina screaming, "Somebody please help me," from the basement. Remember, her mom was, like, expecting her because she's like, "Hey, can my friend Arlene come?"
Yeah.
So her mom's expecting her to come home, and she just talked to her on the payphone. So when she couldn't locate Gina, she reported her missing that evening. She had called her friends.
I
And
have a
anyone.
quick question.
Mhm.
So, okay, they could hear her, they could hear Gina. Are they still locked to things, or do they have have they been there long enough that they have freedom of movement about the house?
They're still in their own. They're still chained to their own rooms. So
Okay.
Michelle's in the pink room, and Amanda is in a different room, both chained about the size of a closet with a mattress.
Gross.
He found the mattresses in an alley.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I was like, you probably got them from the fucking dumpster.
So gross. A few days following her abduction, flyers were given out by family and friends, and one was even placed on a tree outside of Ariel Castro's house.
I bet he loved that.
All these girls disappeared so close to his fucking house,
And nobody fucking.
and no one know. And I mean, and
put it
there's no way you
together then.
could know. Like, they're.
Right.
I watched interviews with neighbors and things, and it's just. You
He's
just don't.
good
Yeah,
at
he's good
hiding.
at it. He's a fucking psycho.
Yeah.
Well, and every woman he takes, he just gets more emboldened.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know?
Ariel Castro also joined the search party because he's a disgusting cow.
Well, and then he can also
Keep an eye on what's
Mhm.
going on.
He also attended at least 2 vigils. One day, Ariel Castro showed up on their fucking doorstep to offer condolences to the family.
Wow.
of Gina's
Of
or
Gina. Yeah.
That's like super sadistic. Like he is.
He hugged them, said
Psychopath.
how sorry he was, and remember, he was friends with Felix. So that's fucking super gross.
But it also kind of makes sense because if he's friends with Felix, it would be weird if he didn't
Yeah.
go over.
Yeah, you're right. It's just fucking nasty.
I mean, it's gross regardless. I mean, it's just
He also, while he was there, asked for some flyers to put out. FBI agent Robert Hawk was assigned to Gina's case, and on Friday, April 9th, the day after Gina's 15th birthday, the FBI received an anonymous tip. The tip said to look into a Fernando Collin, who just happened to be married to Ariel Castro's ex-wife. And guess who fucking made the call?
oh, of course.
Of course, Ariel Castro definitely made the call. I don't have proof of that, but, like, he fucking made the call. Okay.
He made
He
that
fucking
call.
made the call.
Yeah.
So he calls the FBI and he's like, "Hey, dude, my ex-wife's new husband has been molesting my daughters." And so naturally the FBI immediately looks into this guy. And they searched his house, they searched his car, everything.
Found it to be false.
Found it to be fake news. He was also polygraphed, and that was all cleared. Gina was in the house for 2 weeks before Michelle met her. At this point, Michelle and Amanda had also only met a couple times, and he kept them separate basically all the time. Ariel brought Gina into Michelle and told her that she was his daughter. And then he said, "Go into the bathroom so that Michelle can do your hair." And Gina's like, okay, like what the fuck? And so they go into the bathroom and Michelle just kind of starts like playing with her hair, and Ariel Castro turns his back for a second, and really quickly Michelle like whispers into her ear, I've been here for a long time. I know who you are. Because at this point, she has seen her on the news also. She said, I know who you are. When I can talk to you, I'm going to help you. I'm going to like tell you how to survive this, basically. She also said, don't tell him that I know who you are. When he put them back into their rooms, he had pinned one of Gina's missing flyers into her room. So while she was chained to her mattress, she would have to stare at it all day. At one point, he padlocked Michelle and Gina together in a room, which for them was essentially a good thing because it started like Michelle's been alone this whole time. Fucking Gina's only 14 years old, so the two of them together kind of became like sisters.
Let's plot.
Yeah. That's not even what they were thinking. They were honestly just trying to like survive.
Yeah.
And so they were like, I'm here for you, you're here for me. They got to know about each other. They became really, really close.
Where's the other one?
She's in her own room. The mattress that they were on became so disgusting that they had bed sores. And like I said, he literally found the mattresses in an alley. When he would come into the room to rape one of them, they would hold hands with each other to like help them get through it.
Oh my God.
So we're going to put a pin in this, and this might be part 1. Join us next time for part 2.
Part 2, bitches.
Where we're going to tell you about... Michelle definitely got it the worst out of all 3. Not that the other 2 got it easier by any means. She was with him the longest. And hers is...
Well, I mean, she's had terrible things done to her since she was probably a baby.
Dude.
And nothing has gotten...
I can't. So...
Oh.
Okay.
Join us next time.
Join us next time. We love you.
Okay. Hey, if you're a patron, I bet you could get the episode right now.
Dude,
right?
what?
I bet you wouldn't have to wait for a week, because by the time this is out, you'll have both parts out, but you're going to have to wait a week between them. If you're a patron, I'm doing a bad job of explaining this. Someone else do it. Yay!
So, did you know that if you are a patron, in addition to getting ad-free content, you also get it earlier than everybody else. Also, when we have 2-parters or 3-parters, typically, I'm not going to swear to this, but typically we will release both of those at the same time, depending upon if this one gets the editing done.
This sack of shit who doesn't do anything.
No, in all seriousness, we do have to, Lindsey and I both, like, this podcast would not exist without this
Absolutely.
one. She busts her ass every single week.
All day.
In spite of everything else going on.
Yeah.
And as you guys know, we've just debuted Michael's podcast. And she's also editing for him as well. So
would have been done if I wouldn't have ruined my hard drive.
Well, that was Peebles.
Dog life.
Dog life. Like, look, our dogs are dogs, and they're gonna do stuff. And shit happens.
Dogs are dogs.
Dogs are dogs.
Dogs are
dogs.
Dogs are dogs.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode. We put out new episodes every single Wednesday, and if you're impatient like me, be sure to become a Patreon where you can get your episodes early each week. For as little as $2 a month, you not only significantly support the production of this podcast, but you'll also get extra benefits and perks for being one of our special Patreon weirdlings. Go to patreon.com/threesacrime for more information. For all of our links related to our socials, affiliate codes, where to listen, and everything else, go to linktree/threesacrime.